12 months ago, I would have never imagined AI to completely transform my life and career plans. Today, I'm driving AI innovation at MainPower, posting educational content across YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and having my own AI consultancy, helping individuals and businesses upskill and deploy AI. Hey, I'm Blake, an AI engineer based out of Christchurch, and I'm only getting started. I was quite fortunate at the end of my degree to get a few different job offers, and one stood out a lot down at MainPower, and it was really focused around using data and AI across the business. I've then pretty much become an internal AI consultant, being able to meet with all parts of the business to uncover use cases and areas of repetitive tasks that is not actually adding that human value, and then go out and build and deploy those solutions. So I've worked on a real wide range, from machine learning on time series data for low voltage anomaly detection to load forecasting across our network, computer vision for pole defect analysis and information retrieval out of handwritten notes, and then also chatbots for our customer service team and other kind of PDF related documents. These tools allow MainPower to save a lot of time, but also make more informed decisions going forward, which saves the business a lot of money. Here's what the Chief Executive of MainPower has to say about my contributions.
I'm pleased to support Blake in his application for Rising AI Star Award. Blake is a graduate engineer who joined us 7 months ago. Blake has been instrumental in driving the use of AI within our business. In my 25 years of experience within this industry, I have not seen too many graduate engineers who have made such an impact on a business in such a short amount of time. Blake also leads the charge in terms of AI in a modern workforce, and recently spoke at a University of Canterbury AI and Engineering Forum where there was over 90 people to see the work that he had done for us at MainPower. We're extremely proud of what he has done and very supportive of him being nominated and successful in this award.
The best way to learn is getting stuck in and actually doing things. So I started by building a number of different side projects to help me upskill. I built Glow for Less, where you can upload images of beauty products and AI uses it to find cheaper alternatives with the same ingredients. Blake's AI Assistants, which are a bunch of chatbots that cover travel, exercise, and other advice. And more recently, a real estate tour tool that converts static house images into a full-blown realistic tour. I really enjoy helping people and teaching, so I started posting my learnings and some tutorial style guides on YouTube, LinkedIn, and now even TikTok. And that's just to give people a free resource because the space is moving so fast and it's hard to keep up. This has led to a number of individuals and businesses reaching out if I can help them out with upskilling, but then also building and deploying different AI solutions for them. This has led me to work on some really cool projects such as My Memory Friend, which is a voice assistant for people in rest homes to have a 24/7 conversational assistant that knows all about their family and history. And then Tupuna, which is a podcasting app for Māori and Pacifica students to be able to connect with their elders, and they can get a transcription through and ask questions around, hey, what was Nana's favourite food and her favourite memories. So it's really cool to be able to provide value not only to businesses looking to enhance their money and profit, but actually these kind of community focused works, which is really cool.
I came across Blake through online forums and YouTube and really just kind of wanted to connect with him because he was a local AI expert, local to Aotearoa, New Zealand. And this is very important for me as I serve our Indigenous communities in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Now, Blake came across as a very interested and willing young person, keen to explore this world of AI with a person like me who's got dreams and hopes and aspirations, but doesn't necessarily know, I guess, the nuts and bolts of how to make these things happen. We've done that using and leveraging the power of AI, and Blake has brought his wonderful IP to serve these communities. And I guess the best thing is Blake's only at the start of his journey, and hopefully so am I on my entrepreneurial journey, but highly recommend Blake for all things. Wonderful person.
Lastly, I love connecting with the wider community to hear a lot of lessons and stories from people with different backgrounds, but also sharing my own. I've hosted an AI and engineering event with 90 engineers and 4 guest speakers, including myself, filmed 2 podcasts recently, and joined the AI Forum and AEC working groups. I've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, but this is only the beginning for me, and I'd love to be recognised as a rising AI star in New Zealand.
Hello, this is your host Akhil Navluri, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Techospace podcast series. In this podcast episode, I'm super delighted and thrilled to welcome one of the most eminent and prominent industry leaders, Mr. Blake Harkness, who happens to be the graduate network engineer for Main Power Company, which is an electricity distribution company for the region of North Canterbury. So now, and Mr. Blake Harkness, he's based out of Christchurch, New Zealand. And, I really feel that there's a lot of, let's say, an age relatability connect in this podcast episodes, which since I feel that, both of us are from the same age group and a lot of connect on those notes is happening. So, Blake, off to you. Why don't you introduce about yourself to our audience and about your company, Main Power, in deep?
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's excited to be here. Yeah, so like you mentioned, my name's Blake. I grew up in a smaller town called Wanganui in the North Island of New Zealand. And kind of throughout my high school time, I was quite enjoying like the physics, the maths, the calculations, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Originally, I did want to go into teaching, but kind of found out the money route there wasn't the best and found engineering. And so I went and studied mechatronic engineering at Massey University in Palmerston North. And about halfway through my degree, I actually found ChatGPT just playing around on the side. And I quite quickly realized that it could do all of my assignments, all of my coding, absolutely everything in my degree, pretty much a lot better than me and a lot faster. And as you know, with technology, it's only going to get stronger and more capable. And so I was like, oh crap, that's pretty interesting. Towards the end of my degree, I kept playing around with it. I got one job offer down here at MainPower, and it was pretty much, hey, we know AI is getting quite big. We need someone to come in and look at their data, AI, all of that kind of aspect, which is really cool. And so, coming out straight out of uni, I've been in this role for 7 months as a graduate network engineer, and the kind of job title and role has switched around quite a lot to be really pretty much fully AI focused, where I'm able to go in different parts of the business, try to figure out, hey, where can we implement AI, where can we use it, actually build out those processes and solutions, and then also help upskill and teach the wider team, which is really cool to have that organization-wide impact coming straight out of university.
Amazing, Blake. Now, Blake, when we talk about the main power company and you're fine with respect to that, how did you come across this company? Was it through a job fair, or was it through any reference, or was it like through any of those LinkedIn kind of pop-ups that you just applied for?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I think it would have been through Seek. I think I applied for a lot of different jobs through Seek, and that was the main spot, or it would have been LinkedIn as well, seen on there. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, what was your first day like when just did you get that feeling? Oh wow, I've made it. So, did you have that happiness or let's say that excitement when you had your first day of work at main power company?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was really cool coming out of uni, especially as probably the more memorable moment is getting that first paycheck in a way. They've been such a poor student for such a long time and
Yeah.
not being able to, do all the things you want to do. But it was such a welcoming environment to come in and just go, hey, we need someone to kind of look at this kind of stuff and having that freedom to just learn and experiment is really beneficial. Yeah, no, it was really awesome.
That's brilliant to know. And I'm pretty sure that, when once you're just telling about this, our listeners also will totally resonate with that and they'll feel that, I think this is the next journey that we are going to take because Blake is, giving us that kind of a roadmap because we are thinking ourselves in the shoes of Blake because many of my listeners, they're freshers and all of that. And for them, it's like a complete roadmap from your end.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, you just got to apply, see it, put like face out there pretty much. Do some side projects as well. That's really helpful. I had like a little website of all these different projects that I worked on, not related to AI, but it kind of shows that I've still got that initiative to get underway and work on things, which is quite beneficial as well.
That's brilliant, Blake. Now, Blake, if I would just like to ask you this, like, would you like to give me and our listeners a complete overview of your expertise on the lines of, use case identification and building, and how are you able to help the people upskill with the use of it?
Yeah, definitely. So at uni, was a lot more focused around kind of computer vision. We did a few projects around like apple detection and some photos of red and green apples, and then as well machine parts to detect like defect analysis, which those kind of skills cross over quite nicely. And then it was a lot of tinkering and playing around. Like I mentioned, halfway through my degree, I started playing around with ChatGPT, and then you start going, oh, how can I use this to code? How can I learn it to teach me to do things better and do web development or anything else that I can think of? And so then I started playing around with that and built a chatbot for New Zealand travel advice as well. I think it was one of the first ones I
Oh.
did. And so you just ask it questions and it will give you a little itinerary plan. Oh, you should go here. These are the cool beaches. Go to there. And you just start by playing around and you start learning from there. In terms of kind of the teaching skills and upskilling and helping people with that, it really, I guess, came from originally wanting to do teaching. And throughout my uni degree, I was doing coaching for volleyball and then also tutoring as well. And so those skills
Okay.
helped build up that kind of personal skills. And
Hmm.
it's also kind of understanding that you can't just kind of give these new shiny toys of software to people, and you've actually got to understand that there's a whole new thing for them. Like maybe it comes really intuitive for me that this technology, but it's really hard for some people. And then there's a lot of worry around losing jobs due to AI, that kind of thing. But it's really once people start understanding it, and it's kind of taking away the admin work, the people that this kind of stuff you don't really want to be doing anyway. You're not providing much value, and it actually allows you to focus on that decision making and really kind of amplifies what makes humans great, I think.
Exactly. Now, Blake, I mean, probably I just heard from you that you've been a volleyball coach for, for let's say, for school children. But when you were a volleyball coach, did you ever get that thought, okay, I would, try to create, a chatbot for my volleyball team, or let's say for the administration or the management? Did that thought ever cross your mind?
Yeah, not really, to be honest. I have used AI in a different way for volleyball, and that's actually uploading videos of doing different techniques, and then you can get AI to actually analyze that and go, oh, actually, you need to move your hand a little bit this way when you're sitting, or your arm needs to come up higher when you're spiking, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's just so many different applications that you kind of never think of until you just try. And it's one of those things you just try by doing.
All right. So suppose Blake, one of your student, or since you were a volleyball coach, and if he asks Blake, tell me about AI. So how in a simple context, how would you explain that to your, to your student or to your player?
Yeah, no, really good question. I guess the way of thinking about AI is trying to put in all the information in the internet, and then you're searching for that, and it's just bringing up the most likely thing that comes out. Pretty much is the most basic level to put in that. Um,
All right.
get in too much more, it gets a bit more complicated on how the machine learning algorithms and all that kind of stuff goes. Definitely.
I know. And what was their response like? Did your students try that in, exploring or let's say venturing into the AI space, or were they like, okay, they just understood it? Like, what was their reaction? On the front.
Yeah, so I didn't use that. That was a side project I've only done like the last couple of months. That AI for volleyball. During the time of coaching, I haven't used any kind of AI stuff. Yeah, but I've just uploaded a video of myself doing setting or something like that and getting it to critique me and hopefully get me a bit better.
That's brilliant, Blake. And I'm really, really inspired by that. You're doing, you're creating a lot of good work for, MainPower company. And then you had a side stint with respect to being a volleyball thing. It's like, balancing passion and profession. So I really love that. Hats off for that, Blake, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's you got to keep balanced. Got to have the
Yeah.
sport and the friendship side, and then the work side. You got to try to keep a nice balance. I think is really important.
Exactly, exactly. That's true. Now, Blake, if I would just like to ask you this, like, what are your roles and responsibilities as a graduate network engineer for your company, MainPower?
Yeah, so kind of as I mentioned, it's more focused around going into the different teams, understanding all the kind of workflows that they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and where is it really slow and admin work that could just be kind of automated, and then it's building out kind of MVP to test that and trial it, and then going to go back and forth and go, oh, is this a solution we want? Is it good? Back and forth and try optimize that. And then it's also just helping out upskill people. Might be having a half an hour conversation, hey, this is how AI could potentially help you. What other kind of use cases are you using? And also understanding kind of what they are doing with AI at the moment, because a lot of them are just playing around really basic stuff. But then you can actually show them, hey, did you think about this? And they didn't realize about that. And they're like, oh, wow, this has actually saves me a lot of time, which is really cool.
That's brilliant. Now, what do you exactly mean by optimizing? With the example that you just, narrated.
Yeah, so at the moment, I guess optimizing. Well, I guess one of the examples we can talk about is doing like a little web viewer. We've got a whole lot of images. We don't have a really nice way of graphically visualizing that and as well looking at it geographically. And so it's no point me kind of going away in the corner, spending 2 or 3 weeks just building out this product that I think is really perfect. And then I give it to them and they don't actually want to use it. And so it's optimizing it of going back and forth constantly and going, hey, is this actually useful for you guys? Will you use that? And what kind of features do you want to see in that? And constantly having that back and forth between the development and the actual end user is really, really important.
All right. So like, is there any kind of a, let's say, a discrepancy that happens between a developer and an end user? Like, in the profession that you're working in, like, did you ever experience such kind of a thing?
Oh, I see it all the time with people I've talked to that they go away or you buy like another software package that doesn't actually work quite well for what you want it to do and that miscommunication and kind of seeing that, especially from talking to people. That's why I would really want to try avoid that. So constantly have that communication with the end user is really important.
Brilliant. Now, now when we talk about the end users, like exactly who do you mean by the end users? Are they just, the consumers who are, who are paying for the electricity bill, or are they anyone else who are actually, using the application? Like who are the exact end users here?
Yeah, so it's all internal at the moment. So it's going around to the HR department, seeing what they're up to, seeing the engineering team, finance, etc., assets, customer service as well. And it's mainly internally based at the moment. So that kind of also allows it to be a lot easier just to walk down the office and go have a yarn about where the progress is. So yeah,
Brilliant, brilliant. I think, in-house is the starting point for everything. Yeah, and it's pretty much chill at the moment, but yeah, later the mileage just picks up.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right. That's good to know, Blake. Now, Blake, I just wanted to understand, like, what are the key learnings that you have grabbed while working on a plethora of applications? And along with that, having said that, like, what kind of an upskilling are you doing, to teach people to understand the use of AI?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is kind of like we talked about there is listening and understanding because everyone comes from a different background, they've used different technology, they do different things in their day-to-day life. So really kind of first understanding where they come from, what they do is really, really important. Again, you can't just kind of do a blanket approach, here is how you use AI to everybody, and
Yep.
expect everyone to take it up. Kind of one of the examples as well, I saw, I think I can't remember who it was, someone was doing a AI presentation about is how you use AI. I think it was. Oh, I've lost it there. Can we ask that question again? We just cut it.
No problem.
Yeah.
I can get that off. No problem. Yeah. So, Blake, I just wanted to understand, like, what are the key learnings that you have grabbed while, working on a plethora of applications? And also, having said that, like, how have you helped the people upskill to understand the use of AI?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that as we kind of touched on, the listening and understanding of their background is really important. I think people have a whole range of different backgrounds, families, cultures, learnings, technologies, absolutely everything. And so it's really important to kind of understand where they're coming from and to then be able to actually help them. You can't just have that blanket approach going over and going, this is how you use AI, and everyone has to kind of follow that. A really important point on there is that you got to teach by using some examples to their real work. It's no point me sitting with an engineer and telling them how to use AI to create recipes, like cooking recipes. I don't think that's really useful. Whereas if I bring it in and, hey, this is how you can find information on codes and regulations, and that saves you time, then he actually starts thinking of all the other use cases that could be used for, so which is really awesome. In terms of the development as well, I like the kind of experiment and fail fast methodology that you just got to try new things you don't know
Yeah.
until you kind of get it out there. And having it all internal, I can just try new things. Oh, it doesn't work. I've actually learned something from that. Now I can do that in the future.
All right.
And you'll just learn a lot more from failures than constantly winning. If you're doing everything perfect, I mean, you're never going to learn.
Exactly, exactly. Now, for example, I'll give you a hypothetical case, Blake. Now, Blake, let's say I'm either a mining company or a law firm, and I come to you, I want to understand AI. So how will you explain that to me?
Yeah, definitely. So it really comes down to that use case as well. So for a law firm, for example, it's understanding, hey, if we can get this data data privacy is a really big thing as well. We've got to
Yeah.
have it all in that data private environment. If we have that, we can do a lot of that manual researching and tasks, especially for knowledge retrieval. That's a really important thing. There's RAG, retrieval augmented generation. And so for these research documents, law, there's a whole lot of them. You're doing a whole lot of looking into cases. And so you can upload those in and pull and extract information. So pretty much an enhanced search is kind of the
Yeah.
really basic point of that. And then summarization and using your own kind of templates. So you can set up, hey, this is how we set up a document. They can learn off that, and then every document you create from there has got to follow this template and based off this new information. And so there's all those kind of really cool use cases, and it really depends on the industry. And you just go in there and go, hey, this is what we think of, this is what you could use, and then talk about them with them, and then go through that process.
Awesome. And suppose if it's a mining company, like I mean, how would you, flex the case to?
Yeah, mining company. I mean, it really depends because I mean, all parts of that are going to have some finance teams, HR teams, all
Yeah.
of that, and so you can come back to those really basic chatbot use cases. Some of the cool other things you can do is around computer vision as well. You could get automations for detecting things. I don't know the mining. I don't know the mining industry too much, but what sort of things like health and safety? Have a camera set up to detect if there's fire or smoke detection or unwanted people in certain areas. There's a whole range of things there.
That's brilliant, Blake. Now, Blake, I mean, in our previous conversation, I just came to know that you have been part of Mechatronics. So I wanted to understand on that note, did you find any relatability factor of Mechatronics with that of AI? And if so, would you like to share it with me and our listeners?
Yeah, so I originally chose mechatronics because of the blend of all the three major disciplines of mechanical, electrical, and software. And I think having that kind of full picture idea of how things all integrate together is really, really important. And that relates to AI, right? So if I can build a chatbot, but I can't actually integrate it to my data and I can't integrate it to a UI for my front user, I mean, it's pretty useless. And so that mechatronics aspect of being able to think at that full big picture is really, really important. The degree was really good as well because it allowed us to work with a whole range of different people from different backgrounds. Every single project, we worked with different people pretty much. And so that was really beneficial for that communication and teamwork that I mentioned. And for our third and final year, both of our projects were for actual companies. And so they're actually solving real world problems. And having that back and forth with people in industry was really, really useful. The last thing really is that problem solving mindset that I think a lot of the engineering degrees have. That it's really important that you don't just try solve a problem that doesn't exist. You have that communication, you figure out what people actually need, and you solve that problem in a efficient and good way.
Exactly. Now, I mean, you just were giving the example of a mechatronics, like it's the, the combination of mechanical, electricity, and, let's say, the software. But when I heard that, the only thing that actually clicked my mind was robotics. So is
Yes.
mechatronics a synonym of robotics, or is there any difference between that?
Yeah, so I think there are two separate degrees. I don't know if there's a robotics one in New Zealand, to my knowledge. I think it's just mechatronics. But some of the graduates go off and do very different things. Some of them go full mechanical, some do mechatronics. Like some of the examples, we built a robotic vacuum cleaner from scratch. So that could have a little lidar on the top, scan the room, avoid obstacles, and go through and vacuum the room, which is really cool. And so it is that combination, but then also understanding a bit about the mechanical, a bit about the software, a bit about the electrical kind of aspect as well. But definitely robotics is kind of the main field, but not as common as in New Zealand.
Okay. Now, I mean, giving the case of the vacuum cleaner robot, like, I mean, what kind of an operation, let's say, what kind of instructions have been given to the robot in the first place so that, it actually, maneuvers in different way? Is it, I mean, are the instructions given on the basis of AI or are they just, textual informations written pre-hand?
Yeah, so there's no real, we didn't really have any AI on that. That was more algorithms. So we had a little LiDAR that spun 360 degrees and gave points back in the distance from locations. And so it was just an algorithm that went up and down, that scanned the room, up and down, back and forth, and make sure it avoid hitting any walls or anyone's feet that were around.
Awesome. Do you feel there is a scope of, AI integrated with robotics or do you think it's too early to talk about?
Oh, I mean, definitely. I think it was Helix recently came out with ones that could fully robotic, kind of humanoid, but they were
Yeah.
not to the skin, and they could put away your groceries. So you give it the bag of groceries, it would look through. Oh, that's milk. Put it in the fridge. Oh, that's butter. This goes there. All that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of where the next level of AI is going in a way, because we've already got really, really powerful agentic intelligence that can has its own kind of virtual computer, has a whole bunch of tools, can do everything. But when it comes to that physical world, that's kind of that next step, which I think is scary and exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the future is a little bit unpredictable and scary, but yeah, you have to, embrace it like whatever it is, especially with the advent of new
Yeah.
technologies that are coming to the fore for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Now, Blake, let's head on for the next gig of yours. So, Blake, would you like to give me a deep insight about your contract gig with Harkness AI company?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed teaching, and so I started posting on LinkedIn and on YouTube as well, just some like AI tutorial videos. Hey, this is something cool I built. This is how you do it as well. Because there is a lot of content out there, but there's not really many people in New Zealand that are currently doing that as well, which is quite cool. And then from there, people just reached out and said, "Hey, can you teach me how to use AI? Can you build this for me?" And that kind of made me form that like Harkness AI, just a sole trader thing on the side. And now I just do a bit of that on the side, which really helps me further develop my skills as well, because it's such a range of kind of topics that come in. And hey, can you teach me this part or this part? Or can you build me a voice agent? Or can you do a chatbot for this? And it really also helps back into the MainPower work, where if I've done this for the external company or person, I can then relate that back to MainPower and do it a lot faster, which is quite beneficial for them, I think.
Right, absolutely. Now, when it comes to Harkness AI company, Blake, do you have any plans of, venturing a little bit outside of New Zealand, like towards Australia or towards the Asia Pacific region, helping out people understand the nuances of AI?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm really keen to help anyone that's interested. I think it's such a fast moving and really cool topic that there's such a wide range under like the AI umbrella, and that anyone that is interested in learning and stuff, I love having talks about it. Yeah.
Right. Now, Blake, talking about I mean, Harkness AI company, like what are the key areas that you are actually looking for? Like after this, like where do you think that you want to, keep your feet next on? Like what is the domain that you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's so up in the air because it really depends on who reaches out. Like I've gone for a week or two where I've just been helping people with Cursor, which does kind of AI development, and that was mainly around web development. But then the next day it's going to be a voice agent, and then the next day it's just a normal chatbot. And
Right.
so it's really up in the air and whatever comes through, and I just enjoy everything under that kind of AI umbrella, and it's really good kind of at that early day to get a lot of experience in a lot of fields, and they can find out, hey, maybe I don't like doing AI voice agents, and they can ignore that in the future.
Right.
But yeah.
That's amazing, Blake. Now, Blake, in the starting, we were just talking a lot about chatbots, but we didn't actually come to the deep meaning about the chatbots that, we have to, go a little bit, let's say, I mean, in depth about it. So now, Blake, I just wanted to understand, like, what are the types of chatbots that you have designed in your current tenure?
Yeah, so at MainPower, we've done a few ones. The original one that we did was for like the electricity regulation code, and that's just using RAG as well. And so it's a 1,500 page document. Manually searching that's not really fun, and trying to find out bits of information, control F, find keywords, all that. And so now we've chucked that in a chat bot that uses RAG to retrieve that information. And so users can just go, hey, what does the electricity code say about this? And it will pull back that information for them. It's still really important that the person actually checks that off, because AI is not going to be 100% accurate all the time.
Yep. Yep.
The really cool one we've done is for NSR team, which is kind of service delivery, and where they have a lot of customer questions come in via email or on the phone. They then have to look through regulations, websites, all sorts of things, different documents, different places. And so we've loaded all of those up, and now the team can just ask the question, put it through, chatbot comes back with the answer, and again, they check it off before carrying on, which is really cool. And it just saves a lot of that time of manual searching.
All right. I mean, apart from, understanding the electricity codes, is there any other way that you want to, upskill your chatbot? Like, understanding, like, who has actually paid the electricity bill and, what are the predictive analytics that can happen with that? So any of that thought has, struck with you at the moment?
Yeah, so we're doing a whole lot of stuff around load forecasting and predictive analytics as well. We're recently getting access to some low voltage metering data, and so we can look at, hey, can we detect faults on the network and then actually send a technician out to go fix it before power goes off? There's a graduate data scientist with me who built a really cool one that converts your user prompt into SQL, runs that SQL against the data warehouse, pulls the data
Oh,
back, and then comes back, and you can visualize that data. And there's also some functionality that is called Code Interpreter, which does the same sort of thing. It runs Python code, executes that against a CSV or a data source, and then graphs and does all your analytics for you, which is really cool. Image recognition as well. If we've got a whole lot of documents that are either handwritten or some really old text in PDF format, we can scan that through using OCR and pull information out of that. And as
hmm.
well for just images, if we've got images of poles that don't actually have like any kind of metadata with it, we can go, hey, what's actually in this image? Is there a transformer there? What are we looking at? Is it a wooden pole, possum guard, all of that kind of stuff? So we're definitely at that kind of experimentation phase of going, hey, this is all the stuff we can do. And now we're starting to work through what are the top priorities, how do we prioritize them, and go forward from there.
All right. Now, I just wanted to understand this, like, every now and then, whenever we use Chat GPT, a lot of times people experience a hallucination. So, with respect to the AI model, now, I mean, Blake, in your experience, what do you think that we can do to, reduce this hallucination of, I mean, on a complete picture, let's say in the long run?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, hallucinations kind of always going to be there. And it's really important that when you prompt any of these chatbots, you're really specific in your prompt because a lot of people just go really short, maybe it's one sentence or less, summarize this or do this. And then if you've got to think about how much data it actually has behind the scenes, it's got heaps of data from the internet and all other sources that it has from books, all that kind of stuff. And if you give it one little line of text to go search that entire amount of data, you can't be surprised when the results don't come back really well. And so
Yep.
you've kind of got to give it a lot of information. And so that's the real key part. You kind of act as an analyst. I want to find out all of this information from these sources. Here's an example of the output. I want nice big bullet points and critically analyze it and give me a feedback from there pretty much. So you've kind of got to have that really structured prompt, send that through rather than just a little small one, and that can really help remove those hallucinations. For our chatbots as well, because they are targeted only to certain documents, they really reduce the hallucinations because they've got less information to look at, and we can switch off web search so that they don't go get confused as much.
Absolutely, absolutely, Blake. That I mean, that completely explains it, and that's a very good insight on that. Now, Blake, you just told me that you're just getting the word reading, correct, and you're informing the technician about it. I want to understand, like, how is the technician connected? Is it through an application, or is it through any kind of let's say cold calling, or some kind of an SMS alert? Like, how does that go about?
Yeah, so currently it's just manually. We've just got a kind of dashboard that looks at that low voltage data as it comes in, and it's just an algorithm that detects if hey, this is kind of looking like the pattern it might burn out. And so then it's just a manual thing currently. But as we get more data and get a bit more confidence in the system, would definitely be set up to be an automated.
Brilliant, brilliant, Blake. I mean, this is a cutting edge kind of an idea. And this actually, I never came across this one, but whatever MainPower is doing, it's really awesome. And I really give a hats off to that. I mean, that was actually this idea actually blew, I mean, it just blew me off, you're just trying to understand the volt readings and then, you're informing your technicians, which was like, that was an awesome idea for sure. I would just say that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And as well for like the images. So if we had to look at the top of poles, you'd have to get someone up in a bucket, get them up there, and then you do that for however many poles we have on our network, a lot. We can now fly drones across our network and go, hey, take a whole bunch
All
of
right.
photos. Still have manually look at the photos, but now we can actually use AI and go, hey, what's in the photos? Go check that against our records and do all that kind of automation. That again, it's all of those tasks that it's not actually providing much value. If I sit there for the whole day and tell you, yes, that's a pole, no, that's not a pole, it's not really providing much value where I could be doing a lot more stuff
Yeah, yeah,
with that
yeah, yeah.
information. So, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. That completely summarizes the point. Now, Blake, I mean, I just wanted to understand, like, what is your take on correlating the world of data science with the intelligence of the AI?
Yeah, so I mean, without data, AI is pretty useless. So it's really important to have pretty
Yeah,
clean and structured data, especially at any company. If you've got really bad, I guess, data, you don't trust it, it's all over the place, you've got missing records, it's really hard to use AI. And so there's a lot of that data science and data engineering work that might need to take place. Code interpreter is a really cool function, and that, like I mentioned before, that you can put a prompt in, hey, go analyze this data, find me a trend. It will then create a Python script for you and run
Hmm.
that, which saves so much time. But again, it allows the kind of engineers that are doing that end kind of problem solving to spend more time on the problem solving, thinking about the future, rather than spend all that time on that really kind of manual data analysis. Yeah.
That's terrific, Blake. Now, Blake, if I would just like to ask you this, like I've just come to know about the MainPower company, that their entire focus has always been on data and AI. So having said that, my curiosity actually goes a little bit a step further, because I want to know like what are the types of backend technologies and methodologies that have been employed with the company to do the thing.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so MainPower do the electricity distribution. I should have mentioned at the start from Rangiora all the way up to Kaikoura across to Hamner in the South Island of New Zealand. And it's only kind of real recently that they've got that big push of going, hey, we really need this AI and data, which is going really good and having lots of conversations around the business. And so, as most businesses are, we're still in that kind of experimental phase of what technologies are out there, what ones are secure, what ones can we use and hook up to our data, but then what other ones can we use for maybe public information to get some benefit. So we're currently using Copilot, which is our main kind of AI tool that everyone has access to, and that's through obviously Microsoft for their main data privacy. In some cases, we've been looking at using Azure AI Foundry, which allows us to get some of the more latest models that come out, but just through an API call still through our environment. And that was the one that Leon did with the SQL, creating SQL and running that against our data warehouse. Locally, we're looking to run some models as well, potentially the Meta Llama model for that image recognition. So we could run it through the API. However, then there's a lot of cost. If we can run it locally, especially while we're testing it out, it's quite cool.
All right.
Uh, Google's VO3 is also a really cool one. So that allows you to create any kind of video with audio that you want. And so that could be in-house health and safety documents or videos, or it could be outbound customer service ones. It could be absolutely anything. We could make sheep speak to each other and tell us about how cool MainPower is, you know? You could do
Yeah.
anything. And like at the cost, I think currently is it's very cheap. Yeah. There's other tools as well we're looking at for agentic stuff, which, as mentioned, that has kind of its own virtual computer in a way and can browse the web, download data, edit files, and have other tools. And so we've been playing a little bit with Manus and GenSpark. And so that's really more for information retrieval and research. So one of the use cases we're looking at is for going out and scraping information around in North Canterbury. Where do we have really high road traffic, but we don't have any electric vehicle charges?
All
And so
right.
you can send that away and you can see all the step by step. It's browsed, it's got a new terminal open, browse the internet. It started pulling data from NZTA, the different councils, different other websites, collating all that together, building a full report for us. And it pretty much matched what we kind of already thought internally. And that took, I don't know, 7 minutes. And it was probably a couple dollars max of cost. Whereas getting someone to do that themselves would have taken multiple days to pull all that information together. Was it 100% correct? No. It's going to be like 80 to 90% of the way there. But again, it's that being able to go in there, check it out, make sure it's most of the way there, edit it, make any of the changes. But if it's saving 80% of the time, that's just a huge cost and time saving for the business.
Exactly, exactly. Now, I just wanted to understand, like, is MainPower, ever thinking of, exploring into the space of, having a low code, no code technology like, Appian, Pega, or Mendix? Like, I mean, this code runs completely on the logic basis. So is there any plan on that?
Yeah, so probably not at this stage. A lot of the automations we're doing through kind of Power Automate, so to keep it all in that Microsoft environment, and they've got AI Builder in there as well, so that allows us to access kind of the GPT models. Anything that's a bit more complex, we're just writing Python scripts out for that, which again AI is helping write. Was very very useful for code.
Awesome. Now, to get the idea about the dashboards, or let's say I mean, have a little bit of look on the data, like what are the types of, business intelligence tools that MainPower company is using?
Yeah, so I mean, it's always kind of a big conversation. There's Power BI and Tableau are the kind of the main ones we're looking at. Tableau's our main one that we're using, but then also Power BI is inside of that Microsoft environment, so it kind of integrates a lot nicer. So it's really between those two. And then otherwise, if it's really bespoke, we could just do a Python dashboard that we can host as well. So yeah, it's pretty flexible on a case by case basis.
Amazing, amazing, Blake. Now, Blake, before we actually, conclude our podcast session, let's take a pretty lighter route. Like all this while we were talking about your journey, how you, made it in MainPower company and about the backend technologies, the methodologies, and how you're helping people to understand about AI. Now we'll take a lighter route, which is completely exclusive. I mean, let's say it has no inclusion of the, of the technical aspect, just your likes and interests. So a very quick rapid fire round with you, Blake. So Blake, the first question to you, like, what's your favorite sports team?
Oh, sports team. It's going to be the All Blacks or the Volley Blacks, which are kind of on the come up with Volleyball New Zealand. We haven't done too much overseas stuff, but recently we've been doing pretty good, getting out there and actually playing some tournaments. So I got to support the Volley Blacks.
All right. Who's your favorite Volley Black player?
Oh, that's going to be a hard question. I'd say Johan Timmer.
Johan Timmer. All right. I mean, that's interesting. Now, Blake, like, what is your favorite Indian food that you like to, always try?
Oh, it's got to be butter chicken. We had a spot in Palmerston North, and we'd probably go almost once a week. It was so nice. Yeah,
Good to
cheesy
know.
garlic naan, mild hot, depending on the day.
All right. I think, I've heard this and I think it's like an OG kind of a combination, the garlic naan and the thing that you just told about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, Blake, if I ever visit your hometown, like what is that place that you would, recommend me to visit? Or let's say you would take me around for that.
Oh, these are good questions. See, the hard thing is I don't know if I've got a hometown, but I don't like have a hometown at the same time. Like I was in Wanganui for a little bit, then I was in Opunake, then in Palmerston North, and now Christchurch. I think you just got to come around the whole of New Zealand. I'll take you for a whole tiki tour.
All right. So what is that best restaurant in Christchurch that you would, like to recommend to our listeners?
Yes, there's one pretty close to where I live. It's Sticks and Stone. They do some nice burger deals as well. Burgers, steaks, ribs. Oh, good stuff.
Amazing. Now, what was that last song that you have heard in your playlist?
Oh, good question. These are really good questions. I will check right now, actually. Let's see. It'll be up on my phone. There's a D&B song called Destiny by Net Sky
Okay.
into my drum and bass while I'm doing AI stuff.
All right. Is he a New Zealand artist? Because I'm not pretty sure about that
No.
artist.
I don't know where he's from, to be honest. It's all drum and bass I listen to. Dun, 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 dun.
Nice, nice. That actually adds a lot of, let's say tempo to the work that you're doing, and that actually makes some things more passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. It helps me get in the zone.
Brilliant. So the final question to you, like, who's your favorite New Zealand pop artist? Like, would you like to, give an insight about the New Zealand music industry?
Oh, I don't know if I've got one actually. Yeah, I don't know. There's not. I mean, the only one that comes to mind is Beanie, Benee. But I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. I just listen to it a little bit here and there. But yeah.
Okay. Brilliant, brilliant, Blake. So, Blake, finally, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule and being part of my TechOSpace podcast initiative. I just had an amazing time conversing with you. It was almost like conversing with one of my friends, who I know, and it was really like a lot of knowledge sharing for me and knowledge transfer, like whatever you can call it. But it was really amazing. Especially you gave me that inspiration that how you started out and how you understood the technicalities of landing up in a job and how you're helping people with respect to the AI nuance and the type of chatbots that you've created at a young age, Blake, that you're doing all of this. That's pretty much remarkable and inspirational. So I really, really, I mean, I really, really would, laud you for that. And I mean, please take a bow for us.
Thank you very much. Oh, it's only just getting started. There's heaps to do. It's just such a cool space, and there's so many cool people in New Zealand I've met from it that are just doing even cooler stuff than I'm doing. So, yeah.
That's brilliant, Blake. So, listeners, on this note, this is your host, Akhil Navluri, signing off. We would be back with another podcast episode with another industry leader very soon. Till then, keep listening. Take care. Goodbye. Thank you. And au revoir. Thank you.